Welcome to Sports Stories to Fall Asleep Episode 4. Tonight we will cover a man who was electric, unstoppable, a quarterback who didn't just play the game, he bent it to his will. He redefined what was possible in the NFL. Defenders froze. Fans roared. The league watched in awe as he shattered records with his dazzling speed and cannon arm. But then it all came crashing down. Not with a bone-shattering hit or a career-ending injury, but with a shocking dogfighting indictment that exposed a dark secret and sent tremors through the sports world. This is the gripping story of Michael Vick, a prodigious talent who soared to unimaginable heights, plummeted to the depths of disgrace, and then, against all odds, tried to earn it all back, step by step, yard by hard-fought yard. So let yourself rest and forget the day. Take a deep breath and enjoy tonight's story. Michael Vick, faster than forgiveness. Chapter 1: A star from Newport News. Before the fame, before the headlines, before the fall, there was a boy from a place called Ridley Circle. Michael Dwayne Vick was born on June 26, 1980 in Newport News, Virginia, a tough, working-class city often referred to by locals, including Vick himself, as Bad News or even Newport Nam. It was a place marked by high crime, poverty, and the fallout of the crack epidemic. Not exactly the kind of environment known for producing NFL legends. But even as a child, Vick stood out. Raised in a cramped apartment in the Ridley Circle housing projects with his mother, Brenda, and three siblings, Marcus, Courtney, and Christina, Vick's early life was defined by struggle, but also by resilience. His father, Michael Body, worked long hours in the shipyards and was frequently absent due to personal battles. Still, he gave his son something invaluable: football. At just 3 years old, Michael Vick was throwing spirals. Out on the unforgiving concrete streets, he honed a rare gift: the ability to throw with uncanny fluidity and run with breathtaking speed. In a neighborhood where danger was never far away, speed wasn't just an asset, it was survival. Vick later recalled hearing gunfire almost every night one summer. He even witnessed a fatal shooting as a child, moments that etched themselves into his psyche. He found refuge at the local Boys and Girls Club, where football offered an escape and a future. By high school, his legend was already forming. He began at Homer L. Ferguson High, where as a freshman he threw for over 400 yards in a single game. When the school closed in 1996, Vick and his coach, Tommy Raymond, himself a former NFL player, moved to Warwick High. Under Raymond's guidance, Vick became a true force: 4,846 passing yards, 43 touchdowns through the air, and over 1,000 yards rushing with 18 more scores on the ground. He wasn't just a dual threat. He was a new kind of quarterback. Comparisons to Randall Cunningham came quickly, but this was something different, something raw, something the game hadn't quite seen before. College scouts swarmed. Everyone wanted Michael Vick. But he didn't just get offers. He got promises. The biggest came from Virginia Tech, a program willing to shape its entire offense around him. That commitment and the school's proximity to home sealed the deal. Chapter 2: Hokie Legend, the Unstoppable Dual Threat. When Michael Vick arrived in Blacksburg, Virginia, as a highly touted recruit, the whispers around the Virginia Tech campus quickly turned to roars. Though he redshirted his true freshman year in 1998, practicing on the scout team and adapting to the college game, it was clear that something special was brewing. The anticipation for his debut in 1999 was palpable. 1999, the electric debut and a Cinderella season. Vick's redshirt freshman year in 1999 didn't just meet expectations. It shattered them, revolutionizing the quarterback position in college football. From his very first collegiate snap against James Madison, he showcased a breathtaking blend of arm talent and unparalleled athleticism. In that game, he scored 3 rushing touchdowns in just over a quarter, even performing a gravity-defying flip into the end zone on one score before landing awkwardly on his ankle, forcing him to miss the rest of the game in the next. Despite the brief injury, the message was clear. A new kind of quarterback had arrived. Under the guidance of legendary coach Frank Beamer, Vick led the Hokies on an improbable and unforgettable journey. Virginia Tech marched through their schedule with an undefeated 11-0 record, capturing the Big East Conference title and earning the school's first-ever berth in the BCS National Championship game, the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Throughout the season, Vick produced countless highlight reel moments. He orchestrated a thrilling last-minute game-winning drive against rival West Virginia in the annual Black Diamond Trophy game, solidifying his clutch reputation. Against Syracuse, a team that had historically troubled the Hokies, Vick led a comeback from a 14-0 deficit, sealing the victory with a dazzling 55-yard run in the final minutes. His performances were so captivating that he appeared on the cover of ESPN the magazine, a rare feat for a redshirt freshman. Vick's individual accolades piled up. He led the NCAA in passing efficiency, 180.4, setting a new record for a freshman and posting the third highest mark all-time. He earned the ESPY Award as the nation's top college player. He was the recipient of the first-ever Archie Griffin Award as college football's most valuable player. He was named Big East Defensive Player of the Year and Big East Rookie of the Year. He finished third in the Heisman Trophy voting, matching Herschel Walker's record for the highest finish by a freshman up to that point, a remarkable achievement that many felt should have been a win given his transformative impact. The climax of the season was the Sugar Bowl against Bobby Bowden's top-ranked Florida State Seminoles, a team loaded with future NFL talent, including Heisman winner Chris Weinke and electric receiver Peter Warrick. The Hokies fell behind early, trailing by as much as 28-7. But Vick, demonstrating his unshakable composure and electric playmaking, ignited a furious comeback. He scrambled, extended plays, and delivered precise throws, dazzling the Superdome crowd and driving Virginia Tech to a stunning 29-28 lead by the end of the third quarter. While Florida State ultimately pulled away in the fourth quarter to win 46-29, Vick's performance was iconic. He accounted for 322 total yards of offense, 225 passing, 97 rushing, and 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 rushing, despite being sacked 7 times. His individual effort in a losing cause cemented his status as a national superstar, with many observers noting that it felt like the Michael Vick game, even though FSU won the championship. 2000, continued dominance and NFL bound. In his redshirt sophomore season in 2000, Vick continued to impress, even as injuries began to niggle. He posted a career-high 210 rushing yards against Boston College, a performance that highlighted his sheer dominance as a runner from the quarterback position. He accounted for 288 total yards and 2 touchdowns in a decisive 48-20 victory over West Virginia. While the Hokies didn't reach the national championship game again, finishing with an 11-1 record and a number 6 national ranking, Vick still showcased his elite talent. He was a 2-time All-Big East performer, earning first-team honors in 1999 and second-team in 2000. He concluded his college career with an MVP performance in the Toyota Gator Bowl victory over Clemson. Across his 2 seasons as a starter, Vick led Virginia Tech to an impressive 22-2 overall record, losing only 1 conference game in the national title game. He finished his collegiate career with 3,279 passing yards and 21 touchdowns, complemented by 1,216 rushing yards and 17 rushing touchdowns. His 180.4 passing efficiency in 1999 remains a school record, as do his single-season yards per completion, 20.4, and yards per attempt, 12.0, from that year. His overall impact was so profound that Virginia Tech inducted him into their Sports Hall of Fame in 2017, and he is slated for induction into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2025. Vick's college career was a brief but unforgettable whirlwind. He wasn't just a great player, he was a phenomenon who fundamentally shifted perceptions of the quarterback position. His electrifying style, combining pinpoint passing with game-breaking speed, laid the groundwork for the modern dual-threat quarterback. After just 2 years with the opportunity to provide for his family a major motivator, he famously stated he was going to buy his mother a home and a car. Michael Vick declared for the NFL draft, poised to be the most anticipated prospect in years. Chapter 3: The Human Highlight Reel, Reshaping the Game. The NFL had never seen anything quite like him. In a league built around pocket passers and bruising runners, Michael Vick was something else entirely. A quarterback who defied convention, bending time, space, and expectations with every snap. He was a force of nature, an athletic marvel who could humble even the most disciplined defenses. He was the future, analysts proclaimed, their voices laced with a mix of awe and bewilderment. Even if we didn't fully grasp it at the time, he fundamentally changed the position. The spring of 2001 was electric with anticipation. All eyes were on the NFL draft, and one name dominated every conversation: Michael Vick. He was, as widely predicted, taken number 1 overall by the Atlanta Falcons, making history as the first African-American quarterback ever selected with the top pick. It was a monumental moment, a clear signal that the league, and the quarterback position itself, were beginning to evolve beyond traditional archetypes. It was progress, NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue stated, recognizing the significance, and a reflection of the incredible talent coming into our league regardless of background. Atlanta had desperately traded up to get him, sacrificing their number 5 pick, wide receiver Tim Dwight, and multiple future selections, a third-round pick in 2001 and a second-round pick in 2002, to leap ahead of the San Diego Chargers. It was a bold, risky move, a high-stakes gamble on one player's transcendent potential. But the Falcons were starved for a star, a winning identity. And what they got was a phenomenon. Vick signed a 6-year, $62 million rookie deal, with over $15 million guaranteed, a staggering sum that made it the largest contract ever for a rookie at the time. Even before his first professional snap, the Falcons were all in, betting their franchise's future on the dynamic young quarterback. "We knew he was special," said then Falcons coach Dan Reeves, a seasoned NFL veteran who had seen countless talents come and go. "But you never really know until they step on the field and truly compete." That fall, in 2001, Vick mostly backed up veteran Chris Chandler, allowing him to absorb the complexities of the NFL game without immediate pressure. He started just 2 games, appearing in 8 total. But in those limited appearances, he flashed, scrambling for first downs, uncorking improbable throws, and demonstrating the raw, untamed ability that had captivated scouts. And that was enough to ignite the city's hopes. He had this aura about him, teammate Warwick Dunn later recalled. You just knew he was different. Even in practice, he was doing things nobody else could. In 2002, Vick took over as the full-time starter for the Falcons. And from that moment, the league changed overnight. He passed for 2,936 yards, added 777 rushing yards, and accounted for 24 total touchdowns, 16 passing, 8 rushing, leading the Falcons to a surprising 9-6-1 record and a playoff berth. In the wild card round, he led his team into the frozen, hallowed grounds of Lambeau Field, a place where the mighty Green Bay Packers had been historically invincible in the postseason, holding a perfect 13-0 record. Vick, with a cool bravado, dismantled them. Atlanta won decisively, 27-7. The legend had officially begun. He looked like he was playing against kids out there, a stunned Packers fan lamented to reporters that frigid night. You can't game plan for that kind of speed and agility at the quarterback position, admitted then Packers coach Mike Sherman, echoing the sentiment of defensive coordinators across the league. "He's the closest thing to a video game I've ever seen on a football field," Hall of Famer Deion Sanders famously quipped, a phrase that instantly resonated with fans. And if anyone still had doubts about his unique talent, Madden NFL 2004 erased them. In the game, Vick was untouchable, a cheat code. His 95 speed rating, combined with game-breaking agility and a cannon for an arm, made him arguably the most overpowered player in the franchise's history. Online players would often ban the Falcons from friendly matches, such was his virtual dominance. He became a myth, even to kids who'd never seen him play live, his digital exploits feeding into his real-world mystique. "You could just run circles around everyone," one fan vividly recalled of playing with Vick in Madden. "It wasn't fair. It was just hilarious." But this wasn't just video game magic. It was real. Terrifyingly real for opposing defenses. Vick's on-field brilliance was a weekly spectacle. He could drop back, sense pressure, seemingly slip through a collapsing pocket like a ghost, and turn a broken play into a breathtaking 40-yard sprint, leaving bewildered linebackers grasping at air. He didn't just escape. He escaped with an effortless flair that often left onlookers shaking their heads in disbelief. One flick of his powerful left wrist could send the ball 60 yards downfield. Accurate, elegant, effortless. He could make plays nobody else could, plays that weren't even drawn up, said defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, whose teams often struggled to contain him. Every week, Dan Reeves added, reflecting on his time coaching Vick, "You saw something brand new, something you'd literally never seen before on a football field." It was truly incredible to witness. By 2004, Vick had the Falcons truly flying high. He threw for 2,313 yards, rushed for over 900 yards, 902 to be exact, and led Atlanta to an impressive 11-5 record and the NFC Championship game. While they ultimately lost to Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10, the message was clear. Atlanta was back as a legitimate contender, and Vick was its undisputed icon, the face of a franchise reinvigorated. "He put us on the map," a longtime season ticket holder proudly declared. "After years of mediocrity, we finally had a superstar who made us believe." Off the field, the endorsements piled up, reflecting his soaring popularity. Nike, Powerade, Rawlings, EA Sports, and countless others. He was ubiquitous, gracing billboards, starring in national commercials, and adorning magazine covers. His image was synonymous with explosive athleticism and cool. In December 2004, the Falcons doubled down on their investment, signing him to a massive 10-year, $130 million extension, which included $37 million in guaranteed money, making him the highest-paid player in the NFL at the time. "It was a no-brainer," said team owner Arthur Blank. "He was our franchise, our future, and we wanted to ensure he retired a Falcon." But with unprecedented money, fame, and adoration, came a mounting pressure that began to erode the foundations of discipline. And cracks began to form. Behind the scenes, a subtle but dangerous slippage in discipline became apparent. Teammates and staff noticed late arrivals to meetings, a growing reliance on raw talent over the meticulous preparation required of an elite NFL quarterback. Some said he didn't study film as diligently as he should. Others contended he never really had to. His instincts and physical gifts allowed him to react and improvise in ways no one else could. But that instinct couldn't cover everything, especially the growing complexities of his off-field life. "He was a superstar, yes," said wide receiver Roddy White, a close friend and teammate, "but maybe not yet a professional in every aspect. He had so much talent he could just get away with things other guys couldn't." Still, his dazzling numbers often hid the growing concerns. In 2006, Vick made history again, achieving another unprecedented milestone by becoming the first quarterback to rush for over 1,000 yards in a single season, 1,039 to be exact. This remarkable record would stand for years, a testament to his singular rushing prowess and an enduring mark on NFL history. "That was unheard of for a quarterback," exclaimed analyst Steve Mariucci on NFL Network. "Absolutely unreal. He was truly playing a different game." But while he danced past defenders on Sundays, mesmerizing fans and defying expectations, his private life was becoming increasingly tangled and turbulent. There were red flags, lawsuits, reports of questionable associates, and a growing sense that people around him, friends, family, hangers-on, were pulling him in every direction but the right one. "There were always people around him," said one source close to Vick, "and not all of them had his best interests at heart. He was easily influenced." At first, these were dismissed as the inevitable noise that came with immense fame and fortune for a young man from a challenging background. Until April 2007. That month, authorities, acting on an anonymous tip about illegal activity, raided a rural property in Surry County, Virginia. The 15-acre compound, located at 1915 Moonlight Road, was registered to Michael Vick. Inside and on the grounds, they uncovered the brutal, horrifying remnants of a large-scale, clandestine dogfighting operation, a horrific enterprise chillingly known as Bad News Kennels. "It was like a punch to the gut for everyone who admired him," said journalist Andrea Kramer, echoing the collective shock. "No one saw this coming. Not to this extent. It was a complete betrayal of the public's trust and the image he had cultivated." What followed was immediate national outrage, federal charges, the swift unraveling of a superstar's career, and the beginning of the most spectacular and devastating fall in modern sports history. Chapter 4: The Fall. Bad News and Broken Dreams. April 2007. Surry County, Virginia. The rural calm of 1915 Moonlight Road, a 15-acre property owned by NFL superstar Michael Vick, was shattered by the arrival of local authorities, acting on an anonymous tip. What they found beyond the gates would not only end his career and shatter his image, but send a wave of shock and revulsion across the nation. The raid revealed a chilling scene: dozens of scarred, muscular pit bulls, many chained to car axles just out of reach of one another, a common setup in dogfighting circles. Investigators uncovered grim training tools, treadmills, heavy chains, rape stands for forced breeding. And then came the most horrifying discovery: a burial site. Inside it, the remains of dogs who had been executed in horrifying ways. Electrocution, hanging, drowning, and worse, for no crime other than losing a fight or failing to meet expectations. This wasn't some backyard operation. It was the headquarters of Bad News Kennels, a highly organized dogfighting ring that had operated for years, allegedly with Michael Vick at its financial and strategic core. "This isn't just about dogs," one federal official later stated. "It's about organized brutality, a betrayal of trust by someone idolized by millions." At first, Vick denied any involvement. In May 2007, under growing media pressure, he stood before cameras and said flatly, "I'm a dog lover." It was a moment that would come to haunt him. As the federal case unfolded, it became clear Vick wasn't just aware. He was involved, directly. A central figure. Prosecutors moved swiftly, indicting Vick and 3 associates, Pernell Peace, Quanice Phillips, and Tony Taylor, on felony charges. The indictment included horrifying details. Vick had allegedly been present for, and even personally involved in, the execution of underperforming dogs just weeks before the raid. Tony Taylor flipped first. He took a plea deal, admitted everything, and implicated Vick. The reaction was immediate. Sponsors abandoned Vick almost overnight. Nike, Reebok, Rawlings, Powerade, A Sports. Even Madden 08, once built around his likeness, replaced him on the cover with Vince Young. "It was like a Greek tragedy unfolding in real time," said ESPN's Bomani Jones. "All the talent in the world, and it all crumbled not from injury or accident, but from the life he chose behind the scenes. On August 24, 2007, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell suspended Vick indefinitely without pay. The Falcons erased him from their stadium. Fans burned his jersey. Online petitions calling for a lifetime ban gained hundreds of thousands of signatures. Facing a possible RICO indictment and devastating trial, Vick accepted a federal plea deal. He pled guilty to conspiracy, admitted to funding bad news kennels, and confessed to personally killing 6 to 8 dogs. He also admitted lying to federal investigators. On December 10, 2007, Judge Henry E. Hudson sentenced him to 23 months in federal prison. Vick's previous lies, plus a failed marijuana test while awaiting sentencing, denied him any leniency. The NFL's most dynamic player became inmate #33765-183, housed at the U.S. Penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas. "I blame me," Vick said at sentencing. "I let a lot of people down. My family, my teammates, my fans, and the young people who looked up to me. The fall was complete. Prison wasn't just punishment. It was silence. Gone were the roaring crowds, the cameras, the million-dollar endorsement deals. In their place, cement floors, uniforms, strict routine. He worked construction jobs behind bars, read the Bible, watched football highlights of a league that had once revolved around him, now continuing without him." In July 2008, while still incarcerated, Vick filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. His reported debts ranged between $10 million and $50 million. Bonuses were gone. Sponsors were gone. The money was gone. But more than that, his reputation was in ruins. For many, especially those in the animal rights community, there would be no road to redemption. "This is something people will never forget," said Wayne Packel, then CEO of the Humane Society. "And many will never forgive." Still, something began to shift. From behind bars, Vick started doing what he had never done before: listen, and slowly begin to engage. At first, it was indirect, expressing remorse, reaching out through legal channels. But over time, he began speaking more openly about his mistakes, and started conversations with the Humane Society, eventually agreeing to work with them in speaking engagements and education programs. He talked to youth, visited detention centers, spoke about the consequences of ego, crime, and cruelty. To some, it looked like PR. To others, it looked like growth. "I can't change the past," Vick said, "but I can try to make something positive out of the second chance I've been given." The question was, would anyone believe it? Chapter 5: Redemption in Philadelphia. A Phoenix Rises. By 2009, Michael Vick had paid his debt to society, at least in the legal sense. He had served 548 days in federal prison at the U.S. Penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas, followed by another 2 months under house arrest. He had lost nearly all his wealth, his once pristine image was shattered, and he had become one of the most vilified figures in modern sports history, a pariah to many. But now, free from custody, released on July 20, 2009, the pressing question remained: what comes next for a man whose life had so publicly imploded? Many believed his NFL career was definitively over. Teams were understandably wary of the inevitable media firestorm and public backlash that would accompany his signing. Sponsors wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Animal rights protests, angry and vocal, followed him wherever he went. Even casual fans were deeply torn, disgusted by his past actions, unsure about the possibility of forgiveness, let alone a return to professional sports. And yet, amidst the widespread condemnation, one team was willing to look deeper, to gamble on a controversial second chance. One coach in particular saw something others either missed or chose to ignore. That coach was Andy Reid, the stoic, resolute head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. In August 2009, just weeks after Vick was conditionally reinstated by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, the Eagles shocked the football world by signing him to a one-year, $1.6 million deal, with no guaranteed money beyond the initial signing bonus and base salary, and a team option for 2010. Reed, known for his belief in giving second chances and his deep personal conviction, had compelling reasons, both professional and personal. His own sons had publicly struggled with the criminal justice system, giving him a unique perspective on rehabilitation and the complexities of human mistakes. He genuinely believed in the possibility of personal transformation. And critically, he believed Vick deserved the opportunity to prove that he had truly changed. "I've been around people who've made mistakes, people who have fallen on hard times," Reed explained to the media, facing intense scrutiny. "What matters is what you do afterward, how you work to redeem yourself." Eagles starting quarterback Donovan McNabb, a longtime friend and fellow prominent African-American quarterback whom Vick had known since his high school days, also publicly advocated for the move, seeing the potential for a redemptive story and a dynamic talent. But the backlash was immediate and fierce. Protesters, often from animal rights organizations like PETA and the Humane Society, lined the streets outside the Eagles' training facility and stadium. Animal rights groups threatened boycotts and organized demonstrations. Some Eagles fans swore off the team entirely, feeling betrayed by the organization's decision. But through it all, Vick stayed remarkably quiet, humble, and focused. He rarely engaged with the protesters, instead channeling his energy into football. He repeatedly stated he was just grateful to be back in pads, displaying a level of contrition and maturity rarely seen from his younger days. He played sparingly in 2009, mostly a few gadget plays, a handful of rushes, and appearances in blowout games as a third-string quarterback behind McNabb and Kevin Kolb. It was a year of humility, of waiting, watching, and working tirelessly behind the scenes to regain his football shape and earn the trust of his teammates and coaches. He was also actively engaging with the Humane Society of the United States, fulfilling part of his probation by speaking to at-risk youth and advocating against animal cruelty. He finished the season with 3 carries for 22 yards and 1 touchdown, and 13 completions for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. He even won the Ed Block Courage Award, voted on by his teammates, a significant gesture of acceptance. Then came 2010. And with it, the most unlikely, astonishing resurrection in modern NFL history. In Week 1 of the 2010 season, starting quarterback Kevin Kolb suffered a concussion against the Green Bay Packers. Vick came in as his replacement, and immediately looked electric. The explosive burst was back. The cannon arm still live. But there was something else now, something subtly different. A new level of poise, a disciplined command of the offense, and a noticeable maturity in his decision-making. Andy Reid, seizing the moment, made the definitive switch. Vick was named the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. And suddenly he was not just back, he was better than ever. That season, Vick orchestrated a spectacular campaign, leading the Eagles to a 10-6 record and an NFC East Division title. He passed for a career-high 3,018 yards, his first 3,000-yard passing season, threw 21 touchdowns against just 6 interceptions, rushed for 676 yards, 5th most by a QB in a single season at that time, and 9 more scores. He finished the season with a career-high 100.2 passer rating. The undisputed peak of this improbable comeback came on Monday Night Football, November 15, 2010, against the rival Washington Redskins. Vick delivered one of the most jaw-dropping individual performances in league history, dubbed the Monday Night Massacre. He passed for 333 yards, rushed for 80 yards, and accounted for an incredible 6 total touchdowns, 4 passing, 2 rushing, in a dominant 59-28 victory. Much of this damage was done in the first half alone. "It was like watching vintage Vick," exclaimed commentator John Gruden in disbelief during the broadcast. "But smarter, sharper, more complete. He's reading defenses, he's making every throw, and he's still got that explosive ability to run. Vick became the first player in NFL history to pass for 300-plus yards, rush for 50-plus yards, throw 4 touchdown passes, and run for 2 more in the same game. It was a statistical anomaly that underscored his unique blend of talents. The league, which had once cast him out, now took fervent notice. Vick was overwhelmingly named the Associated Press NFL Comeback Player of the Year, earned his 4th Pro Bowl selection, his first as an Eagle, and finished a remarkable second in MVP voting behind Tom Brady, who won unanimously that year. Vick also won the Burt Bell Award, given to the NFL's outstanding player. But beyond the glittering numbers and the on-field heroics, was a discernibly different man. He was more measured in interviews, often speaking with a humility absent in his younger days. He spoke often and openly about his past, expressing profound regret for his actions. He publicly thanked the Humane Society for their forgiveness and for allowing him to partner with them, becoming an advocate against animal cruelty. He began traveling the country, speaking to kids at schools and community centers about the dangers of violence, the weight of their decisions, and the importance of making positive choices. Redemption isn't something you claim, Vick stated in numerous interviews during this period. It's something you prove day by day through your actions and by trying to make a difference. Still, for many, the deep wounds he had caused never fully healed. For a significant portion of the public, his past remained unforgivable. He continued to receive death threats, particularly online. Boycotts and vocal protests followed him and the Eagles wherever they played, with images of abused dogs often displayed prominently outside stadiums. In some cities, particularly those with strong animal welfare communities, protesters showed up at every game year after year. Even years later, debates would rage anytime his name came up. Can someone who did what he did ever be fully redeemed? There were no easy answers, and Vick himself understood this. He didn't run from the question or the lingering animosity. He acknowledged it as part of his penance. After his triumphant return with the Eagles, Vick played 3 more seasons in Philadelphia, though his performance declined due to injuries and inconsistent play. He then had brief stints with the New York Jets in 2014 and the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2015, primarily as a backup quarterback, before officially retiring from the NFL in February 2017. He joined Fox Sports as an NFL analyst, providing commentary and insights. Later, he served briefly as an offensive coordinator and advisor for the Atlanta Legends of the short-lived Alliance of American Football in 2019. In December 2024, he was named the head football coach at Norfolk State University, marking his official return to the game in a coaching capacity. In 2020, the NFL invited him to participate in the Pro Bowl Legends team. Predictably, the protests returned, a stark reminder of his past. But so too did the support, a testament to his remarkable comeback. His legacy even now remains undeniably complicated. Michael Vick will never be just one thing. He was a revolutionary quarterback, a once-in-a-generation athlete who fundamentally changed the way the position is played, inspiring countless future dual-threat QBs. He was also a convicted felon, responsible for horrific crimes that can never be forgotten or excused. And yet, he may also be one of the rare cases where redemption, while never complete or universally accepted, was honestly sought and demonstrably worked for. Where a man who lost everything didn't just come back to the game, but came back a changed man trying to be better. "I can never undo what I did," Vick said, a consistent message in his later years. "But I'll never stop trying to be better than who I was, and to use my story to prevent others from making similar mistakes." Chapter 6: A Complicated Legacy, Beyond the Gridiron. By February 2017, after 13 seasons in the NFL that spanned unimaginable highs and devastating lows, Michael Vick officially retired from professional football. His final years, brief stints with the Jets and Steelers, were quiet, spent mostly as a backup. He hadn't played since 2015, but the formal announcement still carried weight. The question now wasn't just about what came next. It was about how history would remember him. Most expected him to fade from the public eye, but Vick did the opposite. He leaned into the spotlight, deliberately, purposefully. Later in 2017, he joined Fox Sports as an analyst, appearing on Fox NFL Kickoff and contributing to FS1's coverage. For some, it was a welcome return. For others, it was uncomfortable, a reminder of a past they couldn't forgive. His presence on screen sparked debate. Was this a story of redemption? Or proof that fame forgives too easily? Beyond broadcasting, Vick explored coaching. In 2019, he became offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Legends of the short-lived AAF Spring League. He later interned with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he mentored a young Patrick Mahomes, sharing insight from one dynamic quarterback to another. And throughout it all, he continued his advocacy work, something that began as a condition of his probation, but gradually became a personal mission. His partnership with the Humane Society of the United States grew deeper. He traveled to schools and youth centers, delivering a message of accountability, choice, and consequence. "I can't undo the past," he told one audience, "but I can try to stop others from repeating it." His sincerity by now was hard to ignore, even if forgiveness remained elusive. Public opinion remained divided. Fans in Philadelphia, where he revived his career, often praised his humility and growth. But animal rights activists and many others never stopped protesting his public reappearances. And every time his name came up, for honors, TV appearances, or awards, the debate reignited. In 2020, when the NFL named him a Pro Bowl Legends captain, petitions against the decision drew hundreds of thousands of signatures. "This is a slap in the face to every animal lover," read one petition. "He should never be honored, not for anything." Vick acknowledged the resistance. "My past will always follow me," he said in interviews. "And that's fair. I carry that every day. All I can do is move forward and try to help others." Then, in December 2024, Vick took a dramatic new step. He was announced as the head football coach at Norfolk State University, an HBCU located just miles from his hometown. It was a full-circle moment, the local hero coming home, this time to mentor young men and rebuild a program in his own image. Dr. Melody Webb, the university's athletic director, called it a historic day for Norfolk State, citing Vick's leadership and desire to give back. Critics, of course, resurfaced. Some questioned the message this sent to students. But many applauded the choice, not as a reward but as an opportunity for impact. It wasn't an easy decision, Vick admitted at his introductory press conference. "But I want to serve young men in my community, to build a culture rooted in discipline, hard work, and second chances." In January 2025, just weeks later, another milestone came. Vick was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, recognition for his electrifying days at Virginia Tech. But even this came with controversy. The Hall's criteria include not only on-field performance, but character and citizenship, a standard that made Vick's inclusion both deeply meaningful and deeply debated. Michael Vick's legacy is many things. He was a revolutionary quarterback, a video game come to life, a pioneer who opened the door for players like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. He was also a convicted felon responsible for horrific acts that will never be forgotten and should never be. And yet, he may be one of the few public figures whose path to redemption wasn't just talked about, but actively pursued. With work, with words, with time. "I can never undo what I did," he says often, "but I'll never stop trying to be better than who I was." His story, still ongoing, is a case study in brilliance, failure, public shame, and the long, uncertain road of personal transformation. For some, he'll always be a fallen star. For others, a changed man. And for many, he'll remain both, A reminder that talent can elevate, choices can destroy, and that sometimes redemption isn't a destination. It's a life's work.